All right, this is Fullest House, first edition, where we are playing Vaettiheim. This is turn 13. As I recall, we're planning on trying to elf someone, and we're way behind. Nice, we caught a battle with Bogarus. That is who we were planning on elfing, so definitely relevant. Ooh, we found a magic site. Not actually familiar with this one. Sounds interesting. Probably just a death gem, but we'll take a look. And then we attack some independents. Right, we're pinging the throne. I was like, what independence are we attacking? So yeah, let's take a look at this. We got a couple of these lions that you make pelts out of. They do have some resistances, magic beings, which I didn't actually know. A lot of hit points. Actually, yeah, these are a little scary. Scarier than I thought. Not just regular lions. So there's a decent amount of those. They are starving, though. That's good. So the independents, they will get diseased and die. And like, yeah, these fire snakes are, yeah, you can see this one's diseased here. So this is kind of cool. We can sit on this throne for a little while and hopefully some of these defenders will die of disease. And let's take a look at our caster here. Yeah, a ton of gems. Death 4, that's scary. Astral 5 could be scary. Even Fire 3 with this many gems, like full-size fire elementals, not super cool. Also, pretty high fear values, so that could be a problem. Not a lot of protection, right? So, like, definitely killable in melee. A lot of hit points, though. And then, ooh, there's another caster here, too. Less scary, but this could still be air elementals, which could trip us up. So yeah, not loving the look of this throne, but we knew it wasn't going to be easy. So let's see. We took control. This must be right. We're raiding the birds, and they left no PD. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I really do recommend one PD at minimum. We did not use a scout because we were not super efficient, like our neighbor Marignon. And then, yeah, this is looking like, kind of the majority. Okay, this must be pretty close to Patala's capital. And like, yeah, there's enough stuff here to be kind of scary, so I can understand using a fairly big expansion group. But yeah, they have more than enough heavy cavalry, and their mage their holy 3 artillery here is helping them out. So yeah, this is probably the main Bogarusian force, but we're not 100% on that. We should get some eyes on their capital this turn, see what their recruitment is. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna have any trouble here. May not even take any losses. Yeah, they lose a few of their sacreds, but these are the recruit anywhere guys that dive to just about everything. So let's take a look at our events. Yeah, strange creatures, people are disappearing. We get some magic, that's nice. Also some unrest. Ooh, we get some gems from a troll lair. Troll escaped, I'm sure that's fine. We find some gold. Wow, this is really good. And then the Throne of Gaia has awakened. Let's see if we get any attacks. No, so I think the attacks will start triggering next turn. And I don't think we're guaranteed to get attacked, but they do seem fairly widespread from what I've seen before. And then we finished a fortress and a palisade, so that is good news. Our infrastructure, at least, is doing well this game. So yeah, I'll see you guys after the cut. All right. This is the situation and what we're doing about it. Definitely everything is going perfectly according to plan. We are at least finally moving out this raiding group. We'll see, like 12 of these wolf riders, maybe. And then we should have another group of 12. I think we actually have 13 technically because we have a bodyguard here. So this next group will be a little bit lighter, but we're going to send them down. They're going to pick up some recruits here, and then we're going to send them out in the same direction. We do have to move through Utgard's territory briefly. Just sneak through. I'm sure it'll be fine. We won't get caught. So yeah, we'll attempt some raiding with these groups down in the south, and then we're going to wait. Actually, no, we're sending out our wolf brothers as well, right? So these are a little stronger, and like we'll see. It looks like Bogarus is definitely investing. Well, they just captured this. And yeah, we can see there's a palisade that went up here, and so obviously we won't be able to raid that away completely. And then there's a palisade probably going to finish this turn. We know it was already under construction. So, there's going to be a couple other forts we're going to have to deal with. There's definitely something to be said for going early, right? It's just scouts, although it looks like there's 2 scouts here. So if we do try to assassinate, like 50-50 chance that at least we target the person building the fort. But I think it's worth waiting. I mean, if the fort comes up, it's not going to be super useful, especially if we're able to lock it down. Probably of more note is significantly more heavy cavalry here in his capital. So like, yeah, I think this Bogarus player is, playing completely fine and like has had decent enough expansion for the number of provinces that are available to everybody in this game and this map. Maybe a little on the small side. He has indeed gone into Patala's cap circle, but so has Gath. And I mean, yeah, Patala definitely looks like they're in a lot of trouble. So I'm kind of hoping that this army just sort of keeps expanding and maybe even tries to jump on Patala's capital. So it might very well be worth waiting, like 2 turns and see if he tries to jump on top of it. I suspect that he probably won't. This is a decently sized force and could probably knock out, whatever province defense is here. But, Patala has hopefully been recruiting troops and mages. And then, of course, he has to contend with Gath as well. So, we'll see. But the more that he busies himself down here, like the less prepared he is going to be for our attack. So, we're going to have 2 Wolf Rider groups, 2 Wolf Brother groups. And then we're recruiting a few more Wolf Brothers here who will become bodyguards for our goads here. And, we're going to try some of these goad groups, and it's going to be like 1 square with some bodyguards, and they're going to throw protection, on them, and we'll see. Like I said, I've seen them take out minimal PD. Yeah, it's a little dicey, especially since they're mages that could be researching. Speaking of mages that could be researching, we're actually just preaching here this turn, and we're not even building a lab. We could have built a lab, but then we can't recruit as many troops. We are at least, recruiting our sacreds and some berserkers. We will definitely need these guys to cut through the heavy cav. We're also recruiting our cap-only mages now. So hopefully that will continue more or less for the rest of the game. And we're also doing mage recruitment here. So like that's starting to look a little better. Speaking of the dust spiral, like getting really lucky this game with just like random mage sites. So we can recruit black witches here, which are mostly not that exciting for us, right? Because they're guaranteed to get the death nature crosspath, which we have in abundance. And then, these, they can also random into some more death or some more nature. Also not very exciting for us, but we do not have any earth access, so that's cool. And we don't have any air access, so that's also cool. So it's like a 50% chance, that we're going to get one that's going to be useful to us, basically. The other ones they'll still be useful, but they just won't offer anything we don't already have. And of course, they have the possibility of getting the air death crosspath, which is a very strong crosspath, so it is probably worth recruiting these. Again, these are slow to recruit, and this unfortunately is in one of our forests. So while it is great that we're finding these sites, I don't know, like, do I build a fort here? Probably later, like once we get some more forests, then we may build like a fort, honestly, in both of these provinces. And then start popping out some of those mages. I'm not sure how much to value them. I know in some previous playthroughs, I think I've overvalued foreign mages. It is a pretty big investment in time and resources, to try to get foreign mages up and running, but the extra path access in Magic is really, really nice. Regardless, this is still a 2 gem site, so that is very cool, and relevant gem types for us, both of them, so definitely a lucky find. And we are building a lab here this turn, so we'll be able to start recruiting them, but like I said, we'll probably stick with our hags for now, and then we are also upgrading this fortress over here, since this is going to be a lot safer from the front. There's an argument to be made to like upgrade this fort, since it's going to be right on the front, and we're going to get our reinforcements there, but we may actually have to fall back a little bit in this war. It really depends on like how Bogarus reacts, because if they just sort of doom stack up, we may need a second to respond to that. So, hopefully we'll keep them busy with our raiding, but, like I said, I'm also not too experienced with Vaettiheim, so it's entirely possible that our alpha strike kind of fails. And it definitely seems like, Bogarus is putting a decent amount of money into province defense, I think probably wisely, considering that he borders Vaettiheim. So yeah, excited to see, how that's going to go. We'll probably launch our attack in like 3 turns, maybe 2 turns, if all goes well. We should have a scout on top of Abyssia's capital next turn. We can see that, Arcocephali did indeed move forward and take that villain province. And, definitely looks like they're fighting Abyssia here. We've kind of lost eyes on Calum, but I also just don't really think it's going to be relevant. I think, they're done. I trust in Marignan to eliminate them. We're just going to go ahead and leave our scout here on top of Marignan's capital and see if they do anything interesting. No movement really down here from Satis or Utgard that we can see. And then research-wise, we are about to hit Alteration 3, which is, kind of our go for the war. And then, we'll be working on Alteration 4, which will be, quite useful for us. So yeah, I think that covers turn 13. All right, this is Fullest House, 1st edition, where we are playing Vaettiheim, and it is turn 14. Getting ready for our attack. Ooh, we lost our scout on top of Abyssia, so he must be patrolling his capital. And we know that Arco is trying to eat him, succeeding in eating him perhaps, and then we get attacked by the birds. So they must still have some forces left. I was not anticipating this. Yeah, this looks like you're just pretty typical bird force. These, being led by a mage, which is a little interesting. But, spire horns, kind of all eras really are a mainstay for Calum, and we're definitely not going to win this, so we may have to delay our attack a little bit to deal with this. We'll see. I'll have to talk with Marignan. I thought that he had Calum's capital locked down, and that was pretty much over. We do lose this, but we can handle 26 Spirehorn Warriors. That is not a problem. A lot of unexpected events. This is probably the throne. Okay, Fertility Festival, nice, we like that. Another Fertility Festival, that's interesting. We lose a little gold, it's not the end of the world. We find a copper deposit, which doesn't really matter so much for us, because we don't really need resources. I think this gives resources, maybe some money. Regardless, it's not a bad event, so I'm going to put that in the win column. Let's take a look at what Abyssia is patrolling with. Looks like, probably Capital PD, and then, quite a few other Sacreds. I don't know, have we seen their Bless? I definitely don't remember it. If we have, let's grab somebody who hasn't taken a bunch of afflictions. Some attack skill, full shock resistance, just a little bit of poison resistance. A lot of magic resistance, which is kind of interesting. Blood surge and unaging. Abyssia definitely can have age problems. The god name claimed that this was a Hell Bless build, but this doesn't really look like a Hell Bless to me. Nothing on there that's too scary. These guys do have their heat aura, which can be a problem if you don't have heat resistance. They hit decently hard, and they're okay. Anyway, even without a bless. I wouldn't be too worried about these guys. Let's see, brought out a few Blood 1 mages to lead them with, but, looks like no Blood Slaves here, and one of his assassins, too, I think, who I guess is just here to bless people, because this is a sacred assassin who is also a priest, so a little bit interesting there, not going to be too useful in battle. Also of note, we finished our alteration research, right? So we've talked about that, and that is good. We are ready to go, other than, maybe we have some bird problems now. So catch you guys after the jump. All right, this is the situation and what we're doing about it. Probably most importantly, we can see Calum has actually come out, swinging pretty hard. Marignan is not holding either of these provinces anymore. Obviously, we know that Marignan, took them initially with scouts, so probably no great losses there, but clearly Calum is not as out of it as I thought. I figured Marignan was probably already on Calum's capital, which is probably not the case since, there's all these birds escaping. So we're pulling some of our scouting over to see what is going on, and I'll probably hassle Marignan a little bit and ask him about these bird escapees. It's not we're not in any serious danger here, right? This is probably exactly the same, these two groups of Spirehorns, which is a totally acceptable way to raid, but it's not really going to take any forts or anything like that. He may choose to come deeper into our territory. We're going to do a little bit of patrolling on our fort, pull our Wolf Brothers over, pull some of our garbage over. We have, probably too much province defense here. Between all of that, we'll easily, even if he combines these bird groups, I think we'll turn them around pretty easily. And then we're going to pull some of our infantry over here, right, to, prevent a bird raid in this province. And if he raids other provinces, we'll just lose those temporarily. We'll definitely be able to recapture them. The main issue, of course, is this puts us even farther behind in terms of attacking Bogarus. And speaking of Bogarus, he hired some mercenaries, which can go underwater. I don't think this mercenary group alone is going to be able to take this on, but I could be wrong. But that's kind of a good thing, right? Because, it's money that he's spending that isn't really going to be too useful in a war that we fight. However, I'm going to hold off. So we have, our 2 wolf brother groups. We're moving one out into these woods, but since it's spring and it looks like some other people at least didn't take Cold Dominion, this river is now a boundary. And there's probably a good chance Patala is patrolling their capital. We don't really know what's going on to the north, but similarly to how we lost a scout here on Abyssia, basically I just think it's going to be very dangerous to try to move our raiding groups through Patala's capital to try to sneak them through. And then in the same way, it's entirely possible, right? There's higher than normal province defense here. So the province defense alone could catch our guys trying to sneak through. And he may be building up a few other things to join with these mercenaries. So, if he just has a mercenary group hanging out, there's a decent chance he'll patrol with them. So we're going to hold off, right, trying to sneak through here. And we'll leave our scout in place, and see if he gets patrolled out. But yeah, we do want to start sneaking some groups like deeper into Bogarus's territory. Luckily over here, right, we can sneak through Utgard's territory, which has, normal PD levels, and there's some independence over here. So, we will, when we have our other wolf rider group here moving out. So I think it's actually just going to be a little safer for us to sneak groups kind of through the south here versus through the north. Unfortunately, in the north is kind of where we have, a lot of our preparations, a lot of our units. We're going to sneak our goad groups in here, and then we'll see. We might try to sneak through the capital. We might try to sneak around. We may just use the goads to try to take these 2 provinces here. We are still moving forward with this, but we may need to wait a little bit until we resolve the Kalem situation. So not sure about having these groups just hanging out in enemy territory. Depending on PD levels, there is a small chance that they just get patrolled out, which, would essentially trigger the war. As ever, still pretty new at this, so we'll see how this goes. Speaking of being new and making mistakes, could be some problems here with our foreign recruiting. So one of the things you have to be careful when you're foreign recruiting is if you build too many forts near provinces that you want to foreign recruit into, you can actually draw off all the resources that are available in a province. And almost every unit requires resources, maybe every unit. So, our mages here, they only require 2 resources, which is not a lot, but we are down to it. So we actually only have 9 resources here. I was going to try to recruit up, just some garbage here in this province since we already have a commander to lead it out, and was like, wait a minute, we can only recruit like 1 or 2 of these spearmen. What's going on? And then I realized, resources are critically low. And this is going to become a fortress next turn, which will draw off even more resources. So it's entirely possible that this lab is wasted, and this will go down to 0 resources, and we won't be able to recruit out of it, and we definitely won't want to upgrade either of these 2 forts. So there, like we said, there's an argument to be made because we have these other foreign recruit mages that we'll probably want more of to put a fort here anyway. So if we do run out of resources, we'll probably just upgrade this into a fort. I'm not thrilled about having like this many forts like this clustered together. There are definitely advantages to that, but it will make it harder for us to kind of cover the rest of our territory once we gain more territory, because I'm sure everything will go fine. Interestingly, this forest, for whatever reason, seems to have a lot more resources. I mean, part of it is it doesn't have a castle bordering it, right? So this forest is getting hit by 3 forts, including a castle, right, which is going to draw off more resources than just a standard fort. But still, like, kind of surprised that like there's this much difference, and population level seems about the same. So anyway, I don't do a ton of foreign recruiting, and this is definitely something to try to be aware of. Otherwise, recruitment wise, we are just getting a few more wolf brothers here, most of whom will become bodyguards for or a few of whom will become bodyguards for our last goad. Maybe actually switch that up. We don't need as many wolf brothers. And then, of course, we are getting our cap-only mage. Very happy about that. We're getting, full sacred production, quite a few berserkers. That's all good stuff. Also building a decent number of crossbowmen here. I do think crossbowmen will be somewhat useful for us in the coming conflict with Bogarus, both to help deal with his heavy cavalry, right, because crossbows can punch through that heavy armor, and then also to harass like all of his eparchs, right, who just aren't going to love archer fire in general. Probably more of our cheaper archers would be better for harassing the eparchs, and we may get some more of those as well, but of course the crossbowmen can also deal with the heavy cavalry, so they're kind of nice in that sense. Of course, we're not recruiting them very close to Bogarus, so these guys are going to have to walk quite slowly over there, but we will probably first use them against some birds. These birds are not heavily armored, so more of the lighter archers would be better, I think, probably in this case. But again, since we're planning on using them later against Bogarus, it's fine. Like, they'll do well enough. And then research-wise, we have a few turns until we get Alteration 4, and then I've queued up Thaumaturgy 1, right? We can Communion, so let's just go ahead and... you have to get Thaumaturgy 1 in order to form Communion, so I always just like to get that. And then similarly, like a little bit of Blood Magic, you get Summon Imps at Blood Magic 1, which is just a really useful spell. We haven't actually done any blood hunting yet to get Blood Slaves, so we couldn't actually cast it, but we'll probably try to kick off our blood hunting soon. I'm pretty sure like turn 18 about. I really don't know anything about blood hunting other than what I've read, but by turn 18 you should be doing a decent amount of blood hunting, which we probably won't be, but we're gonna at least try to get some up. So we have a few blood slaves, so we can throw out some imps if we want to. Of course, we can't throw out any imps if we don't have any blood magic research. But again, since we're probably going to be somewhat slow into getting into blood anyway, just one level of blood magic is probably all we're going to need for some time. And then enchantment, which is just a really useful school in general. We are mostly looking at Twiceborn. Twiceborn is extra nice for us because we're size 1, right? That's what this asterisk is about. It takes 5 death gems per size point of the caster. So for like a normal human chassis, this is actually 10 gems. But since we're tiny little goblins, it's cheaper for us. So we're mostly looking at Twiceborn. We can make skeletons. There's definitely like other useful spells in here for us. Like personal regeneration is kind of nice on our cap onlys, and a few other things. But again, mostly looking at the Twiceborn, and that'll handle our research for a good little while. So yeah, I think that covers turn 14. All right, this is Fuller House, 1st edition, where we are playing Vaettiheim. It is turn 15. Maybe going to catch some bird raiders, probably just going to lose some provinces to birds. Ooh, we caught a battle between Calum and Marignon, so some bird action that's not ours. Yeah, this looks like one of the raiding forces that we saw, and yeah, isn't really no PD here, so... Calum is going to come away with this quite easily. He does lose a bird. Spirehorns are not well armored. And then Bogarus here is doing a little more expansion. Yes, this is where we're moving our raiders through. Okay, so this is definitely relevant for us. Yeah, this is cool stuff. Here's some of these black hoods that we've been seeing. They're just, light cavalry essentially with bows. The composite bows are slightly more dangerous. Okay. This actually looks like it might be a Throne of Gaia attack that possibly he's just recapturing, or yeah, not sure actually. So that works out for them. I don't think they lose anything. Yeah, they have a decent amount of stuff here. 15 of these heavy cav, nothing to sneeze at. And then we caught Calum being attacked. No, sorry, Calum attacking Pangea. So yeah, Calum has a lot of problems. Ooh, he's got some mammoths. Nice. We did see some mammoths before, as well as some of these sacred bowmen. Sacred bows in Dominions are relatively rare. There are a few factions that get them, but not too many. And then, yeah, there's not a lot of PD here either. So I think they're going to come away with that pretty easily. Yeah, no losses. So Calum not as done as I thought. We get a message from Lemuria. Cetis has invaded. Yeah, that is actually a good point. So Lemuria is an undead nation. They generate a ton of death gems out of their capital. Cetis generates some death gems out of their capital, but they're also a nation that has a lot of reanimation, a lot of undead summoning. So Lemuria is just pointing out that, Cetis picking up those +9 death gems a turn could be kind of scary. We have a non-aggression pact with Cetis at the moment, and I think, we have enough other problems. We would not love Lemuria to survive anyway, so is it ideal that Cetis is getting that? No. Will Cetis Satis get it? Like, maybe, right? He'll probably have to race someone else for it. So I don't really think it's worth us, reshifting all of our plans. But it is food for thought. And then, yeah, we have quite a few unexpected events. Cult of Gaia has gained a foothold. That could be bad. Plus growth, that's nice, but we lose Dominion. That's sad. Fertility Festival. Okay, just as long as it doesn't become a Cult of Gaia. And then a mage appeared. Nice. What is with, man, it's funny because we're full misfortune. So, again, just shows you that you always have to consider what RNGesus wants. So we get a cloud mage, which is very nice because we do not have any native air access. And there's probably a site nearby. And then, here you go. Here's some misfortune 3 stuff. So we lose a decent chunk of gold and then we finish construction on our fort. So yeah, I'll catch you guys after the jump. All right. So this is the situation and what we're doing about it. I have to say, Calum is raiding back really effectively. There was a substitution, so I think the person responsible for most of the expansion is not the same person that is piloting them now. We also see that Pangea got attacked by some independents on their capital, so we're actually going to move our scout back there. I can't remember offhand if we've seen their bless, but I'm also just curious to see how they handle it. Like now all of a sudden it's kind of looking like, okay, like Pangea is not doing that well. So yeah, haven't talked with Marignon yet. I definitely will reach out to them because this is now starting to look a little concerning. I still have faith that Marignon can take this away, and haven't really seen any of Marignon's major forces up here, so hopefully those are still intact. We're not actually going to attack Calum this turn, right? Like they clearly have a lot of problems. We also see Pythium up here. So it's possible that, they want to get involved or are already involved. So we're just going to leave this alone for now since I think Pangea has enough problems and Calum has enough problems that if we just leave this alone, Calum hopefully won't focus their efforts into raiding into our lands. Because hopefully 3 turns from now we will be attacking Bogarus, which is a bit arbitrary. There's a couple of nice things. So right now it's early summer. In 3 turns it'll just be the start of fall. So we'll be hitting kind of the coldest part of the year, like we're going to be kicking off the war right as things are about to get their coldest, which is what we like for sacreds. And then the other thing is most of our raiding forces will be in position by then, right? So we have these guys out here, and in 3 turns, right, they should be able to go 1, 2, and then attack into here on the 3rd turn, right? And then we have another raiding group here, so 1, 2, probably 3 to here. We probably won't raid, right? This is Patala's cap circle, so we probably won't actually raid these 2 right away. Hopefully Patala will see that, we're doing some raiding and they may just take these themselves. We don't necessarily want to antagonize Patala immediately, although, they have Gath here in their cap circle, like Raga may be attacking them. We also see Ulm down here, so probably we want to cut off, Raga and Ulm from coming in and trying to vulture. Now, they may choose to attack anyway, and we'll have to deal with that if that happens. But we can hopefully at least diplomatically cut them off temporarily. We probably will not hold a lot of these provinces, although it does look like Bogarus more or less only has this one army. It's possible to have another army out here. I'll have to double check and see if this was independent. So, we're still trying to push our scouts deeper in. We want to get as close to full scout coverage as possible before launching this. And then we're actually going to try to push our Wolf Brother groups through this fort. There's definitely a risk that we get caught by the PD. His merfolk mercenaries did actually take the lake. So, I was wrong about that, or maybe he sent some help with them. Doesn't look like it, though. So that's definitely going to be a little annoying. I'm not sure what he can recruit in there. Hopefully nothing that is amphibious, because then, we'll be subject to raids from the lake, but it won't be a big deal. So yeah, we're going to try to push our Wolf Brother groups through. We're going to recruit up like 1 more Wolf Brother group here. We're probably going to use this goad handout. Probably going to try like a larger than normal Wolf Brother group with him rather than just going with like just the bodyguards like these 2. Don't have super high confidence in these groups, especially since I think Bogarus is going for kind of like heavier than normal PD. So, we'll send him maybe into some of these wastes. Not sure if we're going to try to hit his forts immediately, which is probably a mistake. I mean, the main problem is we don't, our infantry. Vaettiheim is kind of slow, and I haven't planned this out perfectly. Obviously pulling some of our infantry back for the Calum situation hasn't helped matters. So I don't have high confidence in a lot of our raiding groups to take out like this really heavy levels of PD. So we're going to kind of need like our larger infantry groups, and they just won't quite be in position. So we probably won't jump on top of the forts right at the start of the war, but within 1 or 2 turns, we should be on top of at least some of the forts. Our infantry will probably handle raiding these 2 provinces, and will probably be launching from the throne province. There might be a disease site here, so that would be a little sad, because I mean, it's a big enough province that probably there isn't any starvation here, but hard to say. And we'll only be spending 1 turn there, so not the end of the world. We are recruiting up a bunch more crossbowmen, because I do think they're going to be useful for us in this coming conflict. We are getting one of our cap-onlys this turn, like full mage recruitment, where we can manage it. We are building a temple here. Next turn, we'll build a lab here, and then we'll move down and build a lab in this forest. We did completely drain this province of resources, sadly. So we're going to get 1 more mage out of it, but then mage recruitment is shut off here, at least until we get a fort here, which we probably would have wanted eventually anyway for the foreign recruits. So in this case, it's not so bad, but definitely not my best moment ever. And then next turn, we'll probably do 1 more round of recruitment of some of our sacreds and the berserkers, and then we'll move out on the second turn into the throne, and then we'll probably split that force to raid these 2, and then depending on how he reacts, right, like if he goes and sends his army out to try to raid other places, we'll probably try to recombine on top of his capital, or we'll see from there. And then we'll start recruiting up, our siege strength here, so that we can actually like knock down these walls efficiently. So I think at first we're going to be aiming to, try to remove as many provinces as possible, lock down his forts where possible, and then, take a favorable engagement with his army, right? And, once all of those things are accomplished, then we'll look at actually taking the infrastructure with our siege strength, which cannot sneak, so it'll have to move like through this wasteland. And thankfully there actually are some supplies here, because giants eat a lot, so we may starve our siege strength a little bit, but that's not the end of the world. Hopefully they won't be fighting any battles, right? They're just going to sit on top of the fort and break it down. This will definitely leave us fairly open, if Caleb decides to attack us heavily, but again, I'm not expecting that. Also, because most of our stuff is stealthy, it's going to be very difficult for him to tell, right, like how defenseless we are. And we have enough infrastructure back here. Like, we can definitely recruit up stuff, to deal with any Caleb raiders. So yeah, I think that covers turn 15.